Another person who's in the upper room is Mary. When I first gave my life to the Lord and I had a personal conversion to Jesus, surrendered my life to Christ, I wasn't quite sure what to do with Mary, because I thought, well, maybe I'll make God jealous. Maybe instead of saying prayers to Mary, I better be saying prayers to God. And, well, maybe I'll say, 3 prayers to Mary and 6 prayers to God. And, how do I balance all this out? And so one day I was figuring out how to do this, and I wouldn't say it was a prophecy, but in my heart I heard this word, and I felt that God said to me, do you think the sun is threatened by the moon? I said, well, I don't suppose so, because you yourself know, of course, that the moon, even though it shines so beautifully, the moon only reflects the sunlight. The moon is not generating light of its own, it's only reflecting the sunlight. So the moonlight that we see and we love so much actually is sunlight coming to us through the moon. And I really felt the Lord said to me, the sun is not threatened by the moon, but the moon continues to proclaim the glory of the sun. And I felt that the Lord said to me, believe me, I am not threatened at all by your love for my mother. In fact, I'm honored because I absolutely love her. And it pleases me that you feel about my mother the way I feel about my mother. So that resolved the question for me. And again, I think for a lot of people, especially because, again, as Cyril mentioned, there's a certain stream of our history that comes from a Pentecostalism or a Protestant background. And I think for some people in the Catholic Charismatic Renewal, there was this question, what do we do with Mary? Does this become a stumbling block, or does this become an issue that we cannot relate to our Pentecostal friends? But according to Luke, she was there. And we wouldn't even have Jesus if Mary had not opened herself to the Holy Spirit 33 years earlier. So Mary and the Spirit are not in any way in conflict. And I would ask you, and I want to invite you, that if there's any issues with the Spirit that you're trying to work out, ask Mary. Ask Mary for some motherly advice. And if you have any issues with Mary, tell them to the Holy Spirit and see what counsel He might give you. There's no conflict between loving the spouse of the Spirit and loving the Spirit. The two shall become one.